hear some groaning in the background. Clark sold it, but Howard got her hand on her hip. Oh, but Clark a missed free throw, so she's missed a couple here. And the lead at 2 with a minute to play.
Can you win a game when your best player doesn't hit a single three? The Fever did. And Fever.Clark still made the difference. For the first time in her pro career, she didn't make a single three-pointer. That's right, 0. But here's the twist. Her team still won the game. How did that happen? And what does it mean for the most exciting young star in basketball? It was just one of those nights where things didn't go as planned. A game full of surprises, records, and reminders that even the best athletes can have a tough game sometimes. Fever.Clark is not just an average basketball player. Since stepping into the WNBA, she's been on fire. She made at least one three-pointer in every single game of her career. That streak, 42 games long. No one else has done that to start a career in either the WNBA or NBA. But it didn't start there. Even in college, Clark was breaking records. Her last game without a made three came all the way back in 2022 when she played for Iowa. That's 140 games with a three in a row. This wasn't just a streak, it was part of who she was. Until now. The Indiana Fever were playing the Atlanta Dream at State Farm Arena, packed with nearly 17,000 fans. The crowd was loud, the energy was high, and everyone expected another classic Clark performance, but something felt off. Fever.Clark missed her first three, then her second, then a third. Fans started to notice. She kept trying, but nothing went in. By the end of the night, she was 0 for 5 from deep. It was the first time in her WNBA career that she didn't hit a three-pointer. According to ESPN's Alexa Filippo, Clark finished 0 to 5 on threes tonight, her first career WNBA game without a made tray. She'd made a three in 42 straight games, the longest streak to begin a career in WNBA history. And just like that, the streak was over. Even with Clark struggling, the Indiana Fever didn't give up. This was a team game, and others stepped up. Natasha Howard played like a star, scoring 26 points and hitting big shots when they needed it most. Kelsey Mitchell hit a huge three-pointer late in the game. That shot gave the Fever the lead. Then, Clark made a smart pass to Aaliyah Boston for a layup. That play helped seal the win. It wasn't pretty, but the Fever pulled out an 81-76 win over the Dream. It showed they can still win, even when their biggest star has an off night. One report said, the bottom line is that Indiana got the win. It certainly wasn't their prettiest performance, especially compared with the game they had against the Chicago Sky. Things didn't get easier for Clark during the game. She got into foul trouble early in the third quarter. By the fourth, she had 5 fouls. One more, and she would have been out of the game. That made her play more careful, which isn't easy for a player known for taking big chances. You could see the frustration on her face, but even with the pressure, she stayed focused. She ended the game with 11.6 assists and 4 rebounds. Not bad for a tough night. Clark came very close to fouling out. The WNBA limit is 6, which also would have been an undesirable career first. Another source noted, the news spread fast. Fans couldn't believe it. Social media lit up with posts about Clark's missed shots and the end of her streak. ESPN even shared a stat showing just how rare this was. But most fans weren't angry. They were surprised but supportive. Everyone knows that even great players have rough games. This was just one of those nights. Some fans even said this made them respect her more. Why? Because even when she wasn't scoring, she helped her team win. That's what real stars do. So what does this all mean? Is Fever.Clark slowing down? Not at all. In fact, this kind of moment happens to the best shooters. Remember Steph Curry? Even he has nights where the shots don't fall. What matters is how players respond. Do they give up? Or do they bounce back stronger? Clark's cold night doesn't change her talent. If anything, it shows her strength. She didn't quit. She kept passing, kept trying, and helped her team win. That's what makes a true leader. Next up, the Fever faced the New York Liberty. That team just broke the WNBA record for most threes in a game. So the pressure will be on. All eyes will be on Clark. Will she hit a three? Will she start a new streak? Fans can't wait to find out. It's a big test, but if we know one thing about Fever.Clark, it's that she never backs down from a challenge. Clark wasn't the only big story that night. Over in New York, the Liberty made history of their own by hitting a record-breaking 19 three-pointers in a single regular season game. Natasha led with 4 made threes and 18 points overall. Meanwhile, Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky had her own shock moment, finishing without a single basket, something that hadn't happened since her college days. These moments remind us how unpredictable and exciting the WNBA is becoming. And Clark? She's still a huge part of that story. Caitlin Clark's three-point streak may be over, but her story is far from done. This game was a reminder that no one is perfect. Even stars have off nights, but great players find ways to help their teams no matter what. Clark did just that. And now, with even more fire, she gets ready for her next big moment. So don't count her out, because if history tells us anything, Caitlin Clark's next chapter might be her most exciting one yet. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark and everything happening in the WNBA. Got thoughts on the game or predictions for her next performance? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
Steph Curry was unfortunately quickly ruled out of tonight's game with what the Warriors are now calling a left hamstring injury. And in this video, we'll take a look.
Stephen Curry's devastating hamstring injury has just sent shockwaves through the entire NBA universe, and what's just been revealed has Golden State fans completely stunned. For years, the Warriors dynasty seemed unstoppable in the postseason until now. The 37-year-old superstar's absence from games 2 through 5 against Minnesota completely derailed Golden State's championship aspirations, leaving the basketball world wondering if we've just witnessed the final chapter of the most dominant team of the modern era. Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors' generational talent and cornerstone of 4 championship teams, created unprecedented concern when his hamstring suddenly gave out during Game 1 against the Timberwolves. Born from years of carrying an otherworldly offensive burden, this shocking injury revolutionized the Western Conference playoff picture by removing the Warriors' offensive engine just when they appeared poised for another deep playoff run, running Golden State's title hopes completely off the rails despite their promising series-opening victory. The implications of Curry's injury extended far beyond a simple first-round exit. This wasn't just another playoff disappointment, this was potentially the final meaningful playoff opportunity for a Warriors core that transformed basketball. After Minnesota took advantage of Curry's absence to eliminate Golden State in just 5 games, serious questions emerged about whether this Last Dance era featuring aging stars Curry, 37, Draymond Green, 35, and Klay Thompson, 35, has reached its painful conclusion. What makes Curry's hamstring injury particularly significant is the timing and context surrounding it. The Warriors entered the playoffs with renewed championship hopes after integrating young talent around their veteran core. Their Game 1 victory over Minnesota showcased their championship DNA in full effect, only to see those aspirations completely evaporate when Curry clutched his hamstring midway through the fourth quarter. His desperate attempts to continue playing only highlighted the severity of an injury that would ultimately doom Golden State's season. But wait, there is more. Curry's unfortunate injury aligns perfectly with a disturbing trend that has completely transformed this year's playoffs. Denver star Aaron Gordon played through a grade 2 hamstring strain in their Game 7 loss to Oklahoma City, while Boston's championship repeat hopes were instantly destroyed when Jason Tatum tore his Achilles in the final minutes of Game 4 against the Knicks. Milwaukee's Damian Lillard suffered the same devastating fate in the first round, completely reshaping the Eastern Conference landscape. The specific timing of Curry's injury arrives at a critical juncture for the Warriors organization. With Golden State's luxury tax bill reaching astronomical levels, difficult roster decisions loom large. Klay Thompson's free agency status creates additional uncertainty about whether this core group will ever compete together again, while Draymond Green's advancing age raises questions about his continued effectiveness. This hamstring injury didn't just end a playoff run, it potentially closed the door on basketball's most revolutionary dynasty. As health experts and basketball analysts have noted, Curry's injury demonstrates the brutal physical toll of modern NBA basketball. Having previously struggled with ankle injuries early in his career before transforming his body into one of the league's most durable stars, Curry acknowledged the frustration of suffering this injury at such a critical moment during his limited media availability. This unexpected vulnerability represents a shocking reminder that even the most carefully maintained athletes remain susceptible to the playoffs' intensified physical demands. The importance of this injury extends beyond Golden State's championship hopes into broader league-wide discussions about player health, with Aaron Gordon explicitly citing Curry's injury when pleading for additional rest days during the playoffs. The Warriors superstar has become the face of a growing movement challenging the NBA's compressed postseason schedule. Gordon's statement that you saw it around the league like Steph with the hamstring, JT, big respect to Jason Tatum. There's guys all around the league that are just suffering fatigue-based injuries because the games are so closely stacked together places Curry at the center of a critical player welfare debate. Curry's influence through this injury extends to reshaping the Western Conference power structure. His absence created the opportunity for Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves to advance beyond the first round, continuing their remarkable ascension into the conference finals. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City capitalized on Denver's Gordon-related limitations to reach the NBA's Final Four, signaling a dramatic power shift from established dynasties to emerging young contenders across both conferences. Even more shocking than the immediate playoff implications is the realization that Curry's injury might represent the conclusion of the NBA's most transformative era. What began with his first championship in 2015 evolved into a style of play that completely revolutionized basketball at every level. If this injury indeed marks the beginning of the end, basketball historians will forever identify the 2025 playoffs as the moment the Curry era began its inevitable decline after reshaping the sport's fundamental approach. The contrast between Curry's subdued injury exit and the league's emerging young stars couldn't be more dramatic. While Minnesota's Edwards declared himself the new face of the NBA after eliminating Golden State, and Oklahoma City's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dominated the defending champion Nuggets, Curry faced his basketball mortality in the training room rather than on the court. This passing of the torch moment wasn't supposed to arrive via injury, but rather through a proper championship showdown between generations. For those who truly understand the historical significance of the Warriors dynasty, Curry's hamstring injury represents far more than a single playoff disappointment. It potentially marks the conclusion of a revolutionary basketball philosophy that prioritized skill, movement, and shooting over traditional size and physicality. If this injury indeed accelerates Golden State's decline, the sport itself will continue feeling the ripple effects of Curry's influence long after his playing days conclude. The broader NBA community's reaction to Curry's devastating injury has split along predictable lines. Warriors fans mourn what might have been their final legitimate title opportunity, while critics point to the franchise's massive luxury tax investments and question whether the championship window had already closed. Social media exploded with debates about whether Curry's absence invalidates Minnesota's advancement and if the NBA's scheduling practices contributed to this injury epidemic. Through this shocking postseason development, Curry's story reveals the cruel unpredictability of sports and the razor-thin margins between championship glory and crushing disappointment. His journey from oft-injured prospect to basketball revolutionary to aging superstar contains lessons about persistence, innovation, and ultimately, the undefeated nature of time. From ankle surgeries to hamstring strains, Stephen Curry has experienced the complete spectrum of athletic triumph and heartbreak. As the NBA reacts to Stephen Curry's hamstring injury, focus shifts to his recovery and the Warriors' uncertain future. The key question now, is this a brief setback or the beginning of the end for basketball's most iconic dynasty? Do you think the Warriors can recover from this devastating blow to make one final championship run next season? Share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to our channel for more updates.
I think we've seen the last of Steph Curry as a champion in Golden State.
Stephen A. Smith stunned fans across the country when he called out the Golden State Warriors on national television. During a heated segment, he didn't just question their chances, he directly blamed Kevin Durant for why Steph Curry hasn't won more championships. And the way he said it was harsh. The Warriors' falling empire. After years of being at the top, the Golden State Warriors are in trouble. Their 2025 playoff run ended quietly after losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. Steph Curry missed most of the series with a hamstring injury, and without him, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green couldn't carry the team. Curry is now 37. Draymond and Butler are both 35. The trio that once led the Warriors to greatness is aging, and the rest of the league has gotten younger and faster. The team that once felt unbeatable now looks tired. Stephen A. Smith's harsh words. On ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith said something that shocked fans. "I think we've seen the last of Steph Curry as a champion in Golden State. For him, the beginning of the end wasn't Curry's injury. It wasn't even the Timberwolves series. It was months earlier, when Kevin Durant said no to a return. I think the second we really knew in our hearts it was when they didn't get Kevin Durant to come back," Smith said. Durant says no. Warriors go to plan B. When Durant turned down the Warriors, they moved quickly to get Jimmy Butler. He's a tough, experienced player with a reputation for stepping up in the playoffs. But Stephen A. wasn't convinced it was enough. Jimmy Butler has no problem being Robin, but can you be Batman anymore? The answer is likely no, Smith said. Butler helped the team. He averaged 17.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists over 30 games, but the move didn't feel like the game changer the team needed. Regular season hopes, playoff problems after Butler's debut on February 8th, the Warriors went on a 28-11 run. They were one of the best defensive teams in the league and looked ready for a deep playoff push. But then, everything changed. In Game 1 against Minnesota, things started well, until Curry got hurt. After that, the team never recovered. Butler was battling illness and playing through a glute contusion he'd reportedly re-aggravated earlier in the postseason. The rest of the team didn't step up. Even with Butler scoring 33 points in Game 3, it wasn't enough. Buddy Hield told The Ringer, "We should be up 3-0. Instead, the Warriors were down 0-3. Critics pointed out that Steve Kerr's rotations weren't working and the bench players didn't produce. The team just didn't have the same fire as before. Another big concern was depth. Beyond the starting five, Golden State's second unit didn't give enough support. The Warriors' aging core couldn't match the energy of Minnesota's younger stars. Compared to Minnesota's deep bench, the difference was clear. The team let's see watching us up. The Warriors' stars couldn't keep up. Draymond was outplayed. Kuminga and the younger players weren't consistent. Butler looked slower than usual. Stephen A. summed it up simply. Time comes for us all. And in today's NBA, the young stars are taking over. Teams like the Timberwolves and Thunder are leading the way. Anthony Edwards, only 23, played like a veteran leader. He had energy, power, and confidence, everything the Warriors used to be known for. Even off the court, there were signs of change. Media coverage began shifting away from the Warriors' legacy and focused more on rising teams. The spotlight is moving, and Golden State is no longer the center of attention. The dynasty called out on live TV. On live TV, Stephen A. didn't hold back. His message was clear. The Warriors' championship window had closed the moment Kevin Durant refused to return, and bringing in Butler as a consolation prize wasn't enough to change that reality. The response from media was swift. Some thought he was being too tough. Others said he was just being honest. Even former players weighed in. Udonis Haslem agreed with Smith on the same show, saying the team had lost its identity and needed to start over. Chris Mad Dog Russo also said the dynasty was done, blaming the front office for not preparing for the future. What if KD had come back? The biggest question on fans' minds, what if Durant had returned? Could they have won another title? It's hard to say. Durant is still talented, but also aging. Still, his decision not to return felt like the end of an era. It was the moment many fans realized the old Warriors weren't coming back. Even if KD had joined, would it have been enough? Between Curry's injury, Butler's decline, and Draymond's struggles, one player, even someone like Durant, might not have been able to fix it all. What's next for the Warriors? Now, the Warriors have some big decisions to make. Should they rebuild, try for one last run, or finally move on from the old core? The front office has been smart before, but this time it's tougher. Can they still give Curry the help he needs, or is it time to start fresh? Some reports say they might trade veterans or use draft picks to get younger talent.